Punks in Suits is a quote from the film Kick-Ass 2. There's no room for punks in suits, just real heroes who can really kick ass. Of course, what we don't need is a bunch of heroes really kicking ass. We need some punks in suits. But by which I mean, we are a generation that would have been alive at the time of punk, or just about. We wouldn't probably have been punks ourselves, a little bit young, but we might have been influenced by that. But even so, we would have been rebels in our teens. We would have been goths, or would have been into new wave or something. And we need to tap back into that. It doesn't mean that we need to turn up at work with a Mohican, but we can be a punk on the inside, right, underneath our metaphorical suit. And that is really about being original, being ourselves, being a little counterculture, questioning things, social justice being important to us. All these things were important to punks. And the thing is that's interesting about punk, it's about individuality, but it's also about belonging. So individuality is recognized, and therefore you are welcome to belong. And really, that's more of the citizenship idea, I think. So that's a punk in a suit. Well, I mean, people are second-rate machines. There are certain things that human beings will never be able to do properly or as well as machines can do, because we're emotional, because we are kind of unpredictable, because it's really difficult for human beings to do repetitive tasks, to exactly the same way every single time. That's what machines are for. And it has been necessary up until now to have human beings doing a lot of those tasks, because we didn't have the machines with the capability. As soon as we did have machines with the capability to do those things, we got machines to do them. The problem with that is that we then assume, well, the more we can get machines to do what humans are doing, because humans are second rate at a lot of these activities, the less we'll need humans. And then, of course, right now we've got the explosion of AI, where this is really so much of what we thought only humans could do. It turns out that we have a machine that can do it, and that can do it in a far superior way, in a way that our brains just can't really get their heads around. But what it means is that we have never really had an opportunity to think about, well, what is it that human beings could do if they weren't doing things that they are second rate at? So if you think about your typical working day, it is packed full. And even if you work in a service or knowledge type of job, your typical day is packed full of things that, it turns out, a machine or AI can do better. So you take all of that out of our day. Now, what can humans do with that? Finally, human beings would be able to wrangle with ethical questions. They'd be able to connect deeply with themselves, with each other, their colleagues, with their clients, with the world around them. They'd be able to think, to have time to think, and to imagine and to create. And they'd have the opportunity to take all of the richness of that insight that the AI has developed and kind of do something with it. And we've never been able to ask people to do that before, because we've been too busy, just keeping on top of the day-to-day. And in terms of things to do, I mean, the first thing is, I ask the readers or listeners to the audiobook to cast their minds ahead to the day they hand in their laptop for the last time, and to ask themselves, if you come face to face with yourself in that moment, how do you want to feel? And I think that's important, because I think most of us, if we carry on in that trajectory that we're on at the moment, myself included, will think we could have been braver. It's one of the reasons that I wrote the book, is I was thinking, I think some things, but I don't say them. I need to, the person I come face to face with when I retire is going to wish that I had said these things. So, okay, I'm going to say them. So firstly, what will you wish you had been? And what will you wish you had said? And what will you wish you had stood for? It's a philosophical exercise, but it should result in some actions. Second thing to do is to go towards tensions in your organization. So rather than working around problems, actually see if you can get to the heart of them. Not what are the presenting issues, like people don't want to come into the office, we have to force them to. Presenting issues like we're finding it really hard to recruit, we need to throw more money at people to get them to come here or to stay. Not presenting issues. Let's try to get to the root of the tension. And if we don't understand what's going on there, let's engage other people in saying, what do you think's going on? So that's the second thing. And I think the third thing is this pushing the decision making away. Anytime you feel like the decision is yours, or even coming up with the ideas to solve the problem is yours, resist. Even when someone is saying, can you just tell me what to do? You don't. You say, yes, I can tell you what I would do, but I'm not going to. You're the one that has to live with a decision. And so you refuse every single day to make decisions or to try to generate the solutions yourself based on information passed up to you. Instead, you are going to never issue another order again. You are never going to make a decision again. You're going to push those decisions down and push the information down so that people can make the decisions themselves. And you're going to sit with the discomfort, and you're going to sit with their discomfort when they say, I don't know how to make this decision, can't you just tell me? No, because if I tell you, you'll never know how to make this decision. So you might as well learn now.